this was the quote that he made about how captains can't run away, and that's so true. When you're in a sinking ship, the captain's the person who leaves last, and he's got to continue to try and lead from the front. He's been such a brilliant leader for them, for India over the different years. And, often it's been through his calmness and his own performances. His own performances haven't been great, but he still needs to stay calm. He still needs to try and show confidence in his troops and try and get the best out of them. And obviously these 3 games will be vitally important. I know some of them might have their heads on the plane already, thinking how they could get back to their own hometowns. But you've got to be asking them for a push for the last 3 games.
But importantly, I mean, we no matter what the future might lie for any of these players or MS Dhoni himself, as he said, based on that quote, these 3 games need to be played and he's going to be on the park. So I'm going to come to both of you, Shaun. I'll start with you. MS Dhoni in that dressing room, no matter what he might say to the person presenting the toss, what's he going to be saying in that dressing room? You've been part of South African cricket, you've been captain, and even when you started off, it wasn't the best time for South African cricket. What do you talk to your troops about?
Yeah, I'm not too sure what kind of individual he is off the field. We obviously see a very calm demeanor on the field, and him with Stephen Fleming, I would imagine that it's a very well balanced and something that's not an emotional dressing room at times, and that they keep it very simple and very structured. But at the end of the day, once the off-field activities, once the negativity, whatever goes on in and around the side, you have to get to the stage that when you walk across that line, you've got that ability to focus on the bat, the ball, and keep the main job. And I think that'll be the focus for them. It has been disappointing, but the main job is still to land balls in certain areas, to make sure you get yourself in and then be as destructive as you can and finish games off and take on the responsibility in the field. And I think the biggest thing for them would be, as I mentioned earlier, the intensity. I just feel like it's been lacking, and that's something I think they'll be very conscious of improving on.
Yeah, to be honest, even at the toss, Lisa, I was expecting him to come out and say, listen, we're not out till we're mathematically out. We're going to give this everything. Yes, cool is one thing, but he just seemed a little bit resigned, not just today, from the last game.
Yeah, it's been a different Mahendra Singh Dhoni, hasn't it, this edition of the IPL? And I'm not sure if lockdown has been a good thing. And you've got to remember that majority of the players, bar those coming from the CPL, they haven't played a lot of cricket, whereas the other guys would have still been training hard. And this is probably the question around Dad's Army. You have such a huge group of guys that are at the latter stages of their career. They're focusing on family, other business proposals, all sorts of things that cricket isn't their first and foremost. So I think that's probably shown up this year, and he looks a little bit tired. And like Shaun said, he walked away from the Indian team without a final game, a final hurrah. Maybe he has it in him just to walk away as well from the IPL. I'd hate to think it, because so many fans across the cricketing world would want to see him leave the game with a bit more of a respectable performance. But you never know. When you're done, you're done. I mean, Shaun and I certainly know that. And you just can't wait to not pick up the boots and not train and not do those bloody warm-ups.